So on Twitter, Behavior promised that they would be releasing some more information on the overall progression system and the perk changes. And they came out with a tweet with a June 2022 developer update. So I'm going to open this, we're going to review this, and let's see what Behavior has changed together. Developer update June 2022. Behavior said that they're overhauling the entire progression system, cutting down the amount of time it takes to get all the teachables and perks drastically. They claim that they are cutting down the grind by 75%, and we can probably thank this due to the new prestige system. So let's say you prestige Trapper to prestige 1, you unlock all agitation, brutal strength, unnerving presence, Trapper's teachables on every single other killer. Let's say you prestige Trapper to level 2, all those perks level up to tier 2 on all other killers. Tier 3, all other killers, tier 3 teachables from Trapper, so on and so forth. Behavior says that this will substantially decrease the blood point investment. Behavior is also revamping the prestige system so that it no longer resets. Once you prestige a character, you no longer lose their perks, items, add-ons, or offerings anymore. If let's say you have event items, when you prestige, you will no longer lose those. You'll keep those forever. Behavior is making so that prestiging is no longer optional anymore. After reaching level 50, you'll get a special blood web with a single node. After purchasing this node, your prestige level will go up by 1, and your character's level will be reset to level 1. And this process brings us to Behavior's new function, an endless prestige system. For Behavior, since moving the teachables to prestige levels 1, 2, and 3, they basically pushed up the prestige cosmetics to 4, 5, 6. And for completionists, they have additional rewards for people who reach prestige 7, 8, 9. They've created individual charms for each corresponding perk for 7, 8, 9. So Trapper, for example, let's say you got to prestige level 7, you'll unlock an agitation charm. For prestige level 8, you'll unlock a brutal strength charm. For prestige level 9, you'll unlock an unnerving presence charm. So on and so forth for all other killers and survivors. The Shrine of Secrets is being completely revamped, so let's say you're missing a perk, and you unlock it on the Shrine of Secrets. You'll get a tier 1 version of the perk that you're missing. And then if you'd like to get it to tier 3, you can get it from the Shrine of Secrets a third time. This new Shrine of Secrets will work seamlessly through the new prestige system that Behavior is about to implement. So with the new prestige system coming into place, Behavior will be taking into account the amount of blood points you spent for perk tiers on your characters and giving you a corresponding prestige level when the new system comes through. When the new prestige system is implemented, you'll keep all your perks, all your bloody prestige cosmetics, and everything else that you've unlocked. For those who reach prestige 3, you'll receive a special prestige icon. This will also be shown in the endgame screen to show off your dedication to a character that you prestige 3'd and Behavior's old grindy progression system. So Behavior is an asymmetrical game that requires 4 survivors for every 1 killer, and a lot of the time this ratio can be blown out of proportion where there's too many killers or too little killers, too many survivors, too little survivors, and their queue times can skyrocket depending on your matchmaking rating and the number of players playing each individual role. Behavior is implementing a new system with matchmaking incentives. So let's say there's not enough killers within your region and at your matchmaking rating. They'll make it so that you can get an utmost of 100% extra blood points for playing a different role. So let's say, for instance, there are 80 survivors queuing. In order to make sure the queue times are as fast as possible, you would need an optimal 20 killers queuing. Let's say there is 1 killer queuing. They may give an extra 100% extra blood points for those at that matchmaking rating and region of 100% extra blood points. These bonuses will be completely individualized since the killer survivor ratio really depends based on region, matchmaking rating, and the time of day. Behavior is also making it so that matchmaking incentives will be disabled if crossplay is turned off. So Behavior is doing a drastic gameplay update because there have been a lot of complaints about the current perk meta. Usually a lot of the time you'll face a lot of players using the same builds over and over and over again, the same perks, and Behavior has tried to break this by updating individual perks, but this hasn't been enough to shake up the meta so that people use more varying different perks. When looking at perks most used by killers, there's a very clear trend. Any perk that helps prevent generators from being powered, slowdown perks for short, are favored. Many players feel generators are powered too quickly without these perks, so we knew we needed to look at generators before making any perk changes. So first, Behaviors increase the time it takes to power a generator to 90 seconds. Oh my god, wow! This is kind of huge because in every single game, this adds a minimum of 20 seconds per a match. 20 seconds may not sound like a lot, but that is huge for people who feel like they get gen rushed as killer. This is something that killers have needed for a long ass time. This is something that killers have needed for a long ass time. Oh my god. Second, kicking a generator will now instantly remove 2.5 of maximum progress. This change makes kicking generators more meaningful, even if survivor stops it from regressing shortly after. Additionally, survivors must decide whether they should tap the generator to prevent regression, as it allows the killer to kick it again and knock it off even more progress. This is kind of huge because kicking generators sometimes have been seen to be a waste of time, because all survivor needs to do is just tap the generator, and basically no progress was lost in the past because there was no regression with kicking. This is also a buff to the 3-gen strategy that killers like to use, where they can keep kicking generators over and over and over again and regressing it by 2.5. General killer improvements, the average kill rates are a little lower than we like, a sentiment echoed by many community members to ensure that killer feels like an unstoppable force to be feared. We've reduced the time it takes to break walls and pallets by 10%. Wah! Let's go! That's nice. That's nice. Generators can also be kicked 10% faster than before. While these changes may seem small, a fraction of a second can be the difference between hitting a survivor and then reaching a pallet. Someone understands me now! 1 second can mean everything in a match. Next, we reduce the cooldown for successful basic attacks by 10%, and reduce the duration of survivors' speed boost upon being hit by 10%. Moving forward, survivors will gain slightly less distance upon being hit, making it more difficult for them to run long distances to a safe area. You can catch up to the survivors faster. This will drastically help M1 killers a lot. Finally, we tweaked Bloodlust to increase in power quicker than before. We are adjusting Bloodlust tiers to activate after 15, 25, 35 seconds of chasing, rather than 15, 30, 45 seconds. And Behavior has also recognized that this is a risky change to do. They're going to be monitoring things with these new values, so to make sure that things don't get too out of hand and too crazy. So Behavior has realized that there are certain perks for Survivor that give survivors a second chance, like Borrowed Time, Decisive Strike, and Dead Hard. A huge benefit to these second chance perks is that they help prevent unfun situations, like being camped or tunneled out of the game, and people being targeted after being unhooked. These second chance perks had a great influence on the survivor rates for survivors in general, because it helped avoid certain death, leading to a more extreme usage rate. So moving forward, survivors will be given a default 5 seconds borrowed time endurance effect after being unhooked, so that they have an opportunity to reach a nearby window or pallet so they won't get tunneled out of the game. Additionally, the unhooked survivor will receive a 7% haste effect for 5 seconds. This new unhooked endurance effect and haste effect will be cancelled once a survivor begins doing what Behavior likes to call a conspicuous action. Anytime a survivor repairs a generator, heals themselves or others, cleanses or blesses a totem, sabotages a hook, unhooks another person, or opens up an exit gate, Behavior only wants these mechanics to be used in such a way to avoid an unfun situation. Behavior's changing the perk BBQ Chili. Upon hooking a survivor, see the auras of all distant survivors for a short duration, gain a stacking blood point bonus for each survivor hooked. So for BBQ Chili, Behavior has realized that the extra blood point bonus that you get is a massive driving factor for people using barbecue a lot. Behavior has clearly stated that they don't want blood points to be a driving factor behind perk choices, so they've decided to remove the blood point bonus. They've anticipated that a lot of people will be angry at this, but they want to point out that this update is going to reduce the grind by 75%, and there'll be matchmaking incentives to increase the amount of blood points you get for choosing a certain role. In this way, they'll try to make other aura rating perks more appealing, with blood point gain not being a core deciding factor. Hex Rune is primarily used because killers didn't want to stop and kick generators. They actually wanted a passive gen regression. To bring Hex Rune more in line with the other perks in the game, they reduced the regression rate from 100, 150, 200 to 50, 75, 100, basically letting Hex Rune play the role as a passive gen regression perk, and Behavior is also making it so that after a survivor is killed, Hex Rune will automatically deactivate. I think Hex Rune may still be a widely used perk, especially with the other baseline gen slowdown that Behavior has mentioned. Up Goes the Weasel. Current effect, after hooking a survivor, the next generator you kick within the time limit instantly loses 25% of its total progress. Given that kicking a generator now removes 2.5% of its progress by default, I think it's important to point out that this perk will remove 20% of the generator's current progress, not the total progress. So the amount that you'll regress will scale. If a generator is on 5%, if you use Pop Goes the Weasel on it, it will go down to 4%. If a generator is basically on 100%, it will go down to 80%. I think that's a very interesting change. Corrupted Dimension. At the start of the match, the 3 furthest generators are blocked for a while. Moving forward, the perk will deactivate once a survivor enters the dying state. We believe this change will keep Corrupted Dimension effective in helping the killer build early game pressure, while providing a limit to its power. This may be a fair change with the baseline changes for a lot of killers that rely on setup time for their traps, hag traps, plague puking on generators, It gives them time to do that. It makes it stronger for weaker killers. But behaviors made it weaker for more meta killers, or like Nurse, who can down survivors really fast. Tinkerer. When the generator reaches 75% progress, receive a loud notification and become undetectable for a short duration. So the new Tinkerer can only be activated once per generator. When a generator reaches 70% progress, they get a noise notification. Since it takes 90 seconds to complete a generator, an extra 10 seconds from the baseline, killers will now have extra time to approach the generator. The only caveat with Tinkerer now is that it will only activate once per generator. Hex, no one escapes death, or NOED for short. When the exit gates are powered, all survivors become exposed as long as the associated hex totem is standing. So we are not looking to weaken its direct strength. Instead, if you're within 4 meters of NOED when it activates, you will see the totem. After 30 seconds pass, if you're within 24 meters of NOED, you will see the NOED totem's aura. Usually a lot of survivors are very scared when they see NOED, and a lot of survivors just leave. NOED will still be a strong perk in my opinion. Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance. Upon hooking a survivor on a Scourge Hook, the generator with the most progress explodes, notifying the killer and instantly lose a large chunk of progress. Instead of exploding, the affected generator will now spark upon losing progress, and survivors will no longer scream. We believe this will ensure Pain Resonance remains a strong regression perk while limiting its informational aspect. So a lot of killers would actually use Pain Resonance as a regression and I'll find the survivors when they scream on the generator. Now when a survivor is hooked on a Scourge Hook, they won't really know what generator has regressed. Without the scream, they just know that a generator has regressed by 12.5%, somewhere in the map. The Dead Hard. Current effect. When activated, become immune to damage and dash a short distance. Dead Hard is by far the most used perk by survivors, and it's easy to see why. In the right hands, it acts like a third health state, allowing the survivor to escape a situation where they'd otherwise go down. There are two main ways Dead Hard is used: to dodge a hit and for distance. In the latter case, there's not much a killer can do. Therefore, Dead Hard will now provide the endurance effect for 1 second when it's activated. If you time it right, you'll prevent the hit and gain a movement speed boost. This will remove Dead Hard for distance and make it solely used to dodge hits, which killers can anticipate and even bait accordingly. I think this is actually really huge. Oh my god. You can't Dead Hard for distance anymore. You have to predict when the killer will M1 you. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's huge. I'm happy about this change. Decisive Strike. Current effect. After being unhooked, Decisive Strike activates for a long duration. When picked up, hit a special skill check to instantly wriggle free. Deactivates when used or when performing various actions. One of Decisive Strike's main appeals is its efficacy at preventing tunneling. In the light of upcoming base changes, we expect Decisive Strike to drop in usage slightly. For the most part, we find this perk to be healthy for the game and easily avoidable for killers who choose to not tunnel the unhooked survivor. Decisive Strike will now deactivate once the exit gates are powered. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, endgame builds are better now! Let's go! That is a good change. The stun duration has been reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. That's huge! We'll also be simplifying the description of the perk. Decisive Strike will now be cancelled by conspicuous actions. And just so you know, conspicuous actions are as follows: repairing a generator, healing yourself or others, cleansing or blessing a totem, sabotaging a hook, unhooking others, or opening an exit gate. Borrowed Time. Current effect. Survivors you unhook gain the endurance effect for a short duration, allowing them to ignore a hit that would otherwise put them in the dying state. Much like Decisive Strike, this perk gets much of its popularity by granting counterplay against a camping killer. Considering a lighter version of Borrowed Time's effect has been added to Survivor's Basekit, we need to update the perk accordingly. Borrowed Time will now extend the duration of the endurance effect of unhooked survivors by 6, 8, 10 seconds, and increase the movement speed bonus duration by 10 seconds. For any survivor you unhook. Increase the increased movement speed bonus duration by 10 seconds. 10 seconds extra speed bonus. Oh, that's good. That's really good for Survivor. I still use Borrowed Time. I still think this perk will be used a lot. Iron Will. Current effect. Makes your grunts of pain silent. This perk allows skilled players to mind game more effectively in many areas by silencing grunts of pain. High usage rates. We're lowering the grunts of pain reduction to 25, 50, 75%. Additionally, Iron Will is no longer active when exhausted, though it will not cause exhaustion itself. So they're making it so that Iron Will never makes you completely silent, and that if you're exhausted, you won't be able to just hide from the killer while injured. I can see people rioting on this because they want to make sure that the killer can never hear them and use their exhaustion to immediately get away from the killer, so that they always lose the killer. Self-care. Current effect. Unlocks the ability to heal yourself without a medkit at 50% speed. Having a consistent and reliable way to heal at will is a powerful tool in the right hands. To reduce its strength, Self-Care's heal speed will be lowered to 25, 30, 35%, and the item efficiency bonus will be removed entirely. But I'm curious to see what people who use Self-Care think about this. Spine Chill. Activates when the killer is nearby and looking in a direction. Increased action speeds and the chance for skill checks. Spine Chill will now only activate if the killer has a clear line of sight to the survivor. This will remove the awkward counterplay where the killer must look away to ensure a stealthy approach. Yeah, I'm moonwalking. Yeah, that's me. It's me. Next, we're adding a short 0.5 second lingering effect to Spine Chill. This will prevent the perk icon from flickering when the killer looks around. It makes the action speed bonus boost more consistent. Finally, we're removing the Vault speed bonus entirely. Overcharge will cause a kicked generator's regression speed to grow from 100% to 400% over the course of 30 seconds. Survivors will want to stop this generator from regressing as soon as possible. Over 400%. Oh, wow. For 30 seconds. Now Eruption regresses generators by 10%. Oh, and it now has an incapacitated status effect for 25 seconds. The incapacitated status effect prevents you from doing generators, sabotaging hooks, using items, interacting with other survivors, and cleansing totems. That's not that bad either. You can't do all of that for 25 seconds. For those of you who like to leave survivors on the ground, can have a little bit more peace of mind. In addition to its current effect, Knockout will cause dying survivors to crawl at 50% slower speed for 15 seconds and reduce the recovery speed by 25. They're leaving slugging as a build? They're leaving slugging as a build. You're keeping this the way it is. Oh, okay. Coulrophobia. To make healing in killer's territories even more unappealing, Coulrophobia will now increase the speed of skill checks by 50% on top of its current effect. Okay, I'll be real with you. I don't think this will increase the usage of Coulrophobia. I think this will just make survivor skill checks way more fun. This perk is great for confusing and sneaking up on survivors, but the basic attack requirement makes it unappealing for certain killers. Dark Devotion will now activate when the obsession loses a health state. Dark Devotion usually transfers your 32-meter terror radius to the obsession once you use a basic attack on them. Now behavior is making it more broader. It activates when the survivor just loses a health state. Jolt allows the killers to regress generators simply by downing a survivor. To make it more consistent and punish careless survivor plays, we removed the cooldown. That's really good too. Oh my god, that's huge for slugging builds. So Lethal Pursuer. So you like aura reading, huh? On top of the existing effect, Lethal Pursuer will now extend the duration of all aura reading effects by 2 seconds. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's huge for Huntress. That's huge for Huntress. It extends all aura reading effects by 2 seconds. Oh my god. That's good. That's good, doggy. That's good, doggy. Wow. Wow. That's really good. Skip. Oh, I can't read the next perk. Scourge Hook Gift to Pain. This perk is also shipped with safer numbers. Now the action speed penalty has been increased from 10%, 13%, and 16% respectively. Another quick one, we've increased the action speed. They've increased this from 4.5, 5.5 to a maximum of 18, 20, 22. So basically they've increased the stackable bonus by 2 points. Scourge Hook Monstrous Shrine. Is this a Scourge Hook now? What? Long have we waited. Monstrous Shrine has received a rework. This perk now will convert all basement hooks to Scourge Hooks. Additionally, Scourge Hooks will grant a 10, 15, 20% faster entity progression, but only if the killer is not within 24 meters. I could see a lot of people using this. This will be definitely used a lot more. I know that for a fact. That's good for M1 killers. In addition to Calm Spirit's current effects, you can now open chests and cleanse and bless totems silently. So Calm Spirit lowers the odds of alerting nearby crows by 100% and suppresses the urge to screen from pain at all times. I could see like loot hoarders using this. After months of studying, saboteurs can now identify Scourge hooks. Their auras are shown in yellow. That's kind of big. Their auras are shown in yellow when a survivor is being carried. Oh, so only when the survivor is being carried. Use this information to your advantage to prevent Scourge hooks from being activated. Saboteur will definitely be used more. Oh my god, it is really good. It actually might be a very strong counter to Scourge hooks. Botany Knowledge. Now increase the healing speed efficiency by 30, 40, 50%, up from 11, 22, 33%. I think that's fine. Botany Knowledge is still good. Off the record, upon being unhooked, gain the endurance status effect for 60, 70, 80 seconds. The endurance status effect is lost upon performing a conspicuous action. An 80-second borrowed time. But you gotta be not doing anything conspicuous. I'm kind of worried about this one because, like, let's say like people may use this perk and like start chasing the killer, like, and start like taking a hit for a teammate after getting unhooked already. Like, I could see people using off the record and like running to the killer and trying to force them to eat a DS. Like, people may use this as a very aggressive perk in order to stop a killer from getting hits with like body blocks and such. I feel like there'll be a bunch of play styles opening up to using some of these perks in an aggressive manner. And I wonder if behavior is, if that's something that behavior intends. Lucky Break. This perk is great for escaping a chase, but the effect quickly runs out. We're giving survivors a way to recharge Lucky Break. Each second spent healing another survivor increases Lucky Break's duration by 1 second. So Lucky Break usually suppresses bleeding and scratch marks for 60 seconds. You can actually refill those charges by healing a survivor. So you have like a silent medic on the team. Pharmacy used to guarantee an emergency medkit the first time you search a chest, which you'd either hope nobody takes before you need it, or hide it far off in the corner like a medkit goblin. Now Pharmacy activates whenever you're injured, guaranteeing an emergency medkit when you search a chest. This effect can happen multiple times in one trial. I could see Pharmacy being used way more. Basically guaranteeing multiple emergency medkits from chests is a huge buff. I think could see myself actually using this perk a lot more. Soul Survivor. In addition to hiding your aura, Soul Survivor will now increase your general repair speed by 70% and your exit gate and hatch action speed by 50%. These effects are only active when you're the last survivor standing. I think that's interesting. Increasing the gate open speed by 50% is kind of huge. So I don't think this one's gonna be used as much, but it's okay. For those who like to stay hidden, we've added a way to regain Distortion tokens. Gain 1 token for every 30 seconds spent within the killer's radius. Distortion used to give you the ability to hide your aura up to a maximum of 3 times from the killer. Now you can replenish them by just hiding in the killer's radius. So people can go into a locker and gain Distortion tokens over and over again. So with lightweight, your scratch marks begin to fade 5, 4, 3 seconds sooner, up from 3 to 1 second. So your scratch marks will fade after 5 seconds sooner. I wonder how strong this is. It's gonna be so hard to find people with Iron Will or something. That's gonna be nuts, right? To help survivors power the 3 closest generators, Deja Vu will now grant a 5% speed bonus to the revealed generators. Okay, Deja Vu will become like a permanent, a sort of mini permanent toolbox for 3 selected generators. Once at least one exit gate has been powered, No One Left Behind activates. Gain a 50% action speed bonus to unhooking and healing other survivors. The auras of all other survivors are revealed to you. Grants an extra 100% blood point bonus for the altruism category. And on top of that, No One Left Behind will also grant a 7% movement speed bonus to any survivors you unhook. Wow, that's really good too. Movement speed for unhooking. You gave movement speed to those you unhook. Additionally, the perk now activates when the gates are powered rather than opened. So I'm guessing that's for the rest of the trial, because that is very strong. 7% movement speed bonus. Wow. We changed the way Dark Sense works. When a generator is powered, Dark Sense activates. The next time the killer comes within 24 meters of you, their aura is revealed for 5, 7, 10 seconds. Dark Sense then deactivates. So you get 5 individual aura reveals for the killer. This is going to be huge for people who like to just hide from the killer and never get found. That's going to be this. I think Dark Sense is going to be an extremely, really strong perk for the survivors. In addition to the current effects, Tenacity now reduces your grunts of pain by 75% when in the dying state. Combined with the increased crawling speed, this perk will now be much more effective at crawling away from the killer. Granted, the killer leaves you on the ground. Your grunts of pain are reduced to 75. So this perk makes you less heard. You can get away. The killer won't be able to find you as easily if they decide to slug you. Hope is great for those who make late game saves, but the limited duration can cause it to expire at an inconvenient time. Since this perk is only useful at the end of the match, we remove the duration entirely. I don't really know how I feel about this change. In the old matchmaking system, I used Hope for 7 months, and it actually let me shut out the killers entirely. With No One Left Behind, you'll gain a 14% extra movement speed bonus. Doesn't that make you faster than 110 killers? So how will killers like Hag, Huntress, Trickster, and Deathslinger are all ranged killers? I don't know if I agree so much with this one, because I've used Hope for like 7 months straight. But that's just me. I'm surprised they buffed this one. That's definitely gonna be used a lot. After cleansing a totem, Overzealous activates. You gain a repair speed by 6%. That's the original. In its current state, cleansing a totem grants a repair speed bonus of 6, 7, 8%. That bonus now doubles if you cleanse a hex totem. Wow. Okay, that's really good. So now you'll gain a maximum of a 16% repair speed bonus if a killer's running a hex. So this is now a nice anti-hex totem perk. We're going to live forever. Much like BBQ Chili, this perk features a massive blood point bonus. We do not want blood points to dictate which perks are used. So remove the bonus blood points from We're Going to Live Forever. This change will release at the same time as a progression overhaul, and they're expected to cut the grind by about 75%, with matchmaking incentives providing additional avenue for blood points. Additionally, actions that previously granted a token will now activate the perk. Things that would previously activate the perk were performing a safe hook rescue, taking a protection hit for an injured survivor, or stunning or blinding a killer to rescue a carried survivor. While active, healing a survivor from the dying state grants them the Endurance status effect for 6, 8, 10 seconds. The secondary effect of Wigglehofer then deactivates. Okay, so it's like giving someone else a soul guard. And just so you know, on top of that, We're Going to Live Forever also increases your healing speed by 100%. We realize that following these changes, a new meta will suddenly rise. We'll be closely monitoring the performance of each updated perk to ensure that none fall far out of line. Moving forward, we'll hope to make meta-shaking updates like this one a more frequent part of our plans in order to keep the gameplay feeling fresh. With that, we've reached the end of this edition of the developer update. Kudos to you who made it this far. It was a long one. As always, these changes will be available for testing next week in the PTB. Given the number of changes being made, we'll be keeping an extra close eye out for feedback. We'll also be holding a live stream in the near future to preview the update and answer any questions you may have. Until next time, the Dead by Daylight team. So Dead by Daylight will probably be like an almost completely different game when this goes live. And this is kind of interesting. I wonder what the community will come up with. And this is going to be a little crazy. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And see you guys in the next one.